Jayo. Actually, we're going to chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas, which is on the last page of the songbook. Of course, today is the commemoration of the disappearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who we're going to be speaking about in class before we go on to the Bhagavatam. So this song is called Saparshra Gora Viraha Vilapa, which is written by Srila Nara Tama Das Thakur. It's on the last page of the songbook. Jai Yayadilo Prema Dhanna Koruna Prachur Yayanilo Prema Dhanna Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Hena Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Damoras Saruprupa Kaha Sanatan Gahadasaragu Natha Patita Pavan Gahamura Bhatta Yuga Gaha Kaviras Bhatta Yuga Ekakale Kutagela Goranataras Gare Kota Gela Goranataras Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Goranga Gunera Nede Kota Gele Pabo Gunera Sesa Basangira Sange Ye Koilo Bilas Ye Koilo Bilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamo Das Nakvaya Kande Narotamo Jayandila Prema Dhanna Koruna Prachur Neo Prema Dhanna Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parakacharya Alcantara Shibad, His Divine Grace. Abhaya Chanana Bhaktivinoda Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopidan Shyama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Maturam Ki Jai. Jagadada Swami Ki Jai. Munamai Ki Jai. Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samariti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Charni Nivashesha Shanivadi Paschatati. So we'll first read the translation to this poem by Narottam Das Thakur. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where am I Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where am I Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So as I mentioned, today is the commemoration of the disappearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, one of the Haribol, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So Omagana Timidanda Shah Kananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Medikam Yena Tasmai Shigurveda Maha. So I'm going to speak a little bit about his life and teachings. So he stayed in this world for 75 years, from 1503 AD to 1578 AD. Now, we don't find a lot of information about Gopal Bhatta Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The reason for that is that he was very humble. Most of us, we like to read about ourselves, isn't it? It's called Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham Iti Manyate. We think we're the doers. So generally we look at Facebook and we try to find our name, at least something nice about ourselves. And we have post our pictures, what are they called? Selfies. Instead of taking a picture of the Guru Maharaj, we take a picture of Guru Maharaj with us, right? Selfie. So Gopal Bhatta, he was so humble that he told Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, do not mention my name, or you can mention this very lightly in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we find very little mention of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. We find mention of Gopal Bhatta Goswami's parents and uncle, and also Sri Ranga mentioned there. In the context of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travel in South India, specifically his travel to Sri Rangam. Sri Rangam is actually a very beautiful temple in which they worship Lord Ranganath. And the temple is constructed in such a way that the Brahmanas, they live around the temple, immediately around the temple. And then in the next circle, concentric circle, you have the Kshatriyas. The next one you have the Vaishyas. The next one you have the Shudras. And it's like on an island, not quite an island, it's more like what we call an isthmus, which means like there's a land bridge connecting the Sri Rangam temple. It's very, very beautiful temple. And they have so many festivals every day. I've been there several times. Every day they take the Utsava Murtis out, and they take them to different Brahmanas' houses, and the Brahmanas serve the Utsava. Utsava means festival Murtis. Serve them in their houses. It's like a festival every day, and they carry the Utsava Murtis out on this giant palanquin that basically each and every pole that the palanquin rests on is like this much around. So it takes these really strong, super Rambo people, devotees, to carry it. And everyone follows the deed. It's such a beautiful temple. Anyway, so in this temple, they worship Ranganath in the mood of awe and reverence. It's a Vaikuntha mood. And actually, even there's a gate there at the temple called the Vaikuntha Gate. Anyone's been there? No. No one's been there. Every year they open that up and you can go to Vaikuntha. There's a picture of me in front of the Vaikuntha Gate. They wouldn't let me in. So anyway, but they let me in the temple. And of course that's the temple of the famous Acharya, Sripad Ramanujacharya, in which you find his samadhi. And his body is there, which has been preserved. So anyway, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 4 months there because it was the rainy season. This is called the season of the Chaturmasha, during which time the sannyasis would not travel because everything was so wet, like we have here. Everything is so wet, like we received a notice last night on our mobile phones, don't go anywhere because the roads are flooded. So it gets worse in India than here, and it was worse. So Lord Chaitanya stayed for 4 months, and he stayed in the house of Venkata Bhatta, who was the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Venkata Bhatta's brother was Prabhupada Saraswati, who later on took sannyas, and he was a famous devotee and wrote so many literatures. Okay, so there's another brother named Trimala Bhatta. So there's 3 brothers. There's Trimala, that's 3. Right? It's interesting. Venkata, Prabhupada Saraswati, and Trimala. So he was Lord Chaitanya stayed there, and every day he stayed in the house, basically, of Venkata Bhatta and took prasadam there every day. And during that particular time, he developed a very friendly relationship. Friendly relationship means sometimes you can joke with someone who's your close friend. So as part of that friendly relationship, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu joked about Lakshmi. He said, your Lakshmi, because they worship Lakshmi Narayan there, your Lakshmi is so chaste. But why is she worshiping this other guy? She's performing austerities to dance with this other person. Who's the other person? Krishna. Why is she doing that? She has her husband there. And Venkata Bhatta could understand why Lakshmi was doing that, because he said that Krishna and Narayan are the same. He understood that aspect of the philosophy, Brahma Sanhita, Dvaita, Achyuta, Nadir, Ananta Rupa Madhyam, Purana Purusham, Navayavunam Cha. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yeah, that's a good answer. But why can't she associate with Krishna and go into the rasa dance. And Venkatapati said, I do not understand. This is, as we say nowadays, it's above my pay grade. Because he didn't use that expression. He said, I can't understand it. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that the reason Lakshmi couldn't enter was because Lakshmi was attached to worshiping Krishna in the Vaidhi Marg. For those of you who don't know what Vaidhi Marg means, rules and regulations. There's nothing wrong with rules and regulations, but if your whole life is based upon rules and regulations and worshiping Narayan as what? God, instead of getting more intimate with Krishna, then you're not going to achieve Krishna Loka. You're just going to go back to home, back to Vaikuntha. And so many devotees, they're attached in that particular way, which is not a problem. That's actually good that people are attached. We shouldn't discourage people. We shouldn't do as Lord Chaitanya did by going to Sri Rangam and tell them, hey, you're in Maya. They're not in Maya. They're actually great devotees. They're pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But at the same time, they don't know the higher understanding, or they're not ready to enter into the higher understanding. Now, you may say, why didn't Sripad Ramanujacharya know it? He's a pure devotee. He's the incarnation of Lakshman, which is Balaram, Lord Nityananda. Well, he did know it, but he was told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Navadvipdhamma Mahatma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this. He was told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, don't go any higher than the Dasha Ras right now. Just stick with it. Because you go higher than Dasha. Dasha means servitude. If you go higher, then you get into friendship. And we don't want to go there. Lord Chaitanya said, wait until I appear. He said that to the other acharyas like Nimbarka Acharya and Vishnu Swami too. Wait till I appear so I can reveal this. So devotional service, or the understanding, the complete understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is gradually revealed. It's like sometimes described like a flower that gradually opens up its petals, right? Lotus petal, lotus flower. And it becomes very beautiful. First it's closed up, then a little bit, then a little bit, then a little bit, and then opens up. So, therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was reserved for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reveal everything. So, anyway, Lord Chaitanya explained this to Venkatapata, Trimala Bhatta, and Prabhupada Saraswati. And at the same time, there was another person there who was listening to the whole thing. And his name was Gopal Bhatta. But he was only 7 years old. Wow. And he also had the benediction of being able to touch Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to pick him up on his lap, put him on his lap, and hug him. Embrace him. Hugging, embracing, same thing. I know. Westerners, we say hugging. In India, you say embracing. Anyway, same thing. So he used to hug him, and he would play with him. Just like you see Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Butler, Pennsylvania, he would play with the little boy, little Gopal. Not Gopal deity, but there's a son of the people he was staying with. He would play with the children. Lord Chaitanya was very affectionate like this way. So then after the 4 months of the rainy season, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to leave. And little Gopal Bhatta, he wasn't Gopal Bhatta Goswami, started crying like anything. Please don't leave. He was so attached to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, he had this intense desire. I wanted to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before he took sannyas. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed to him in a dream how he looked like before he took sannyas, and he revealed to him in a dream what Navadvip looked like. And he also revealed to him in a dream that he was Shaima Sundara. And in that dream, he was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindavan and to serve Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. Of course, before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Srirangam, he also instructed Gopal Bhatta, don't leave home. So he had this conflict here. Don't leave home, and in the dream, leave home. Okay. But he's only 7 years old. He's not going to leave home. But part of Lord Chaitanya wasn't like Narada Muni in his previous life. So, but part of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction was, you should serve your mother and father as long as they're alive. Interesting. It's actually quite interesting. Why did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instruct Gopal Bhatta to serve his mother and father, whereas in the case of Raghunath Das Goswami, he encouraged Raghunath Das Goswami, get that, H-E-double-L, out of there as soon as possible. Why? Because Raghunath Das Goswami's father and uncle, Govardhan and Aranya, Lord Chaitanya described were like materialistic devotees. In other words, it's not a criticism. They were great devotees. But also they had some desires, and therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called them worms in stool. That's a heavy thing to say about someone's parents, isn't it? Your parents like worms in stool. And the reason they said that is because the parents, even though they knew about Krishna consciousness, which means like take a worm out of the stool, the metaphorical understanding, they still jumped back into trying to enjoy this material world. Isn't it? It's amazing. And sometimes we see this, it's called neophyte, kanishta, devotees. They know the philosophy, and they say, yeah, I know, but I can't do it. But it's not that they can't do it, they won't do it. They refuse. Everybody can do it. Anyway, so that's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Gopal Bhatta Goswami or Gopal Bhatta to stay home, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami to stay home, because both of their parents were actually pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if your parents are devotees, and devotees who are dedicated to serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and not simply dedicated to acquiring more and more and more and more money, and bigger houses, bigger, bigger cars, or fancier cars, then, yeah, you stay home with your parents, take care of your parents. So anyway, so Gopal Bhatta stayed with his parents until they passed away, and while he was staying with his parents, he was trained up by his uncle, Prabhupada Saraswati, who was also a sannyasi, and he served his parents, who always thought about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when his parents were getting ready to pass away, they ordered him to go to Vrindavan. So he immediately proceeded to Vrindavan. He was very young at that particular point. And he was accepted by Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami as their brother. You see, these 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan had very, very loving relationships with each other. As we're hearing about Narottama Das Thakur's lamentation upon the departure of the Vaishnavas, particularly he was attached to Ramchandra Kaviraj, who was the disciple of Srinivasacharya, so he laments about that, but also laments about the disappearance of all the Vaishnavas. So they would actually go places and have festivals together. I mean, they had fun, Krishna conscious fun. 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and also Lokanath Goswami and Bhugarbha and the other associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who lived in Vrindavan. So he assisted Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and as he was Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami had a dream. And in that dream, Govindaji, his deity, said, I want Gopal Bhatta Goswami as my pujari. So that's what he did. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami became one of the first pujaris of the Govindaji deity. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had arrived in Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him something very, very special. And what was that special thing? He sent his kopina, outer garments, and his seat to be worshipped, not his seat to be utilized. And so that seat indicated that he should worship Radha and Krishna, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna, or Krishna the mood of Radharani, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. So then there's the famous story that he was also feeling so much separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of course he did not go to Jagannath Puri at that particular time. So, but at that time he went to the Gandaki River, which is in Nepal, and he got 12 shalagram shilas. And after getting these 12 shalagram shilas, he returned to Vrindavan to worship the shilas. But then he was thinking, in a very humble way, like you see, we started this whole story discussing about how Gopal Bhatta Goswami was very humble, didn't want his name in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he was so humble that he thought, I'm not qualified. So nowadays in ISKCON, we have devotees, they just grab shalagram shilas, and I know devotees with 2,000-3,000 shalagram shilas in their home. And they don't ask permission of their guru. And then later on, because they're actually not qualified, those shalagram shilas sometimes end up on eBay being sold. Or they give them away to someone and they say, oh, the Shila wanted to come to you. But actually the Shila didn't want to come to them. The Shila was not being worshipped by the person, or didn't have the proper attitude. Because deity worship is something that requires the mode of goodness. Obviously when you install the deities, I'm not saying it's passionate, but you can have that passionate mood. Oh, something new. Just like when you get a new, let's say, Christmas present or whatever, Hanukkah present or whatever, whatever your culture is. You get a Janmashtami present. Then you open it up, everything. I know it's the same with me. I get a new watch, an electronic watch or something. It's real cool. Wow, look at that. It's so exciting. It's coming in. When is Amazon going to deliver it? And after a week, it's just like, well, it's the same old stupid watch. So we shouldn't approach deity worship in that particular way. You install the deities. You find that everybody's enthusiastic to install deities, just like we're dealing with the devotees in Charlotte right now. They're building a new temple. And I was talking, they want some advice about the deities, and people were saying, I want this deity, I want that deity. And finally, you need 3 or 4 or 5 places on the altar for everybody's deity. Lord Jagannath, Baladevi, Subhadra, well, that's 3 right there. Radha and Krishna is 2, little Radha Krishna, another 2. And we need Sita Ram too, right? Lakshman and Hanuman. Oh, that's a lot. That's another 4. So anyway, I'm explaining to them, because we're having these conferences. Actually, Saturday I'm having another conference with them on the internet. And it's nice they're building a temple. I'm explaining to them that what will happen is that people will be very enthusiastic, but they're not going to worship the deities afterwards. And so you see that, so one has to approach things in the mode of goodness. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, very humble, getting back to the point, he decided, let me go back to the Gandaki River. Now that's a long drive. What to speak of a long walk. It must have taken months or something like that to walk back, and he has to climb hills to get to the Gandaki River. It's not simply like all plain like that. So he went back to the Gandaki River to put the Shilas in the river, and they kept jumping back into his hands. So he thought, well, maybe Krishna wants me to worship them. And he worshipped them nicely, but very simply. He, as described, he kept them in a pouch around his neck. And you find that many of the devotees, they did that in the beginning days. Actually, even in ISKCON, when the devotees first discovered Lord Jagannath in San Francisco, it was actually Malati who discovered Lord Jagannath. It was in a big vat in an import store, and she saw Lord Jagannath, and she took him. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to describe the details. Anyway, she took them, and then Srila Prabhupada had us worship Lord Jagannath. He had Shamashundar carve the deities, and Shamashundar carved the deities in New Jagannath Puri, which is San Francisco. So anyway, so he kept them in a pouch around his neck. Actually, in the beginning days, some of the devotees, I remember they would wear Lord Jagannath in a little pouch on their neck, and he would look out at you. I think it's interesting. It was like that in the early days. And even, 20 years ago, I had my godbrother Makunlo. He had Lord Jagannath deities in a big like this. He would wear them around his neck. You ever see that? It's really interesting. He always wanted to worship a form of the Lord so he can dress. So one day a rich man offered him cloth and jewels, and he was lamenting, why don't I have deities that I can dress? And the next morning he woke up, and the Damodar Shila became the deity of Radha Raman. And there's no Radha Raman deity, but they put the clothes next to Radha Raman. And Prabhupada said the Radha Raman worship in Vrindavan is the highest worship anywhere devotees can study if they really want to get into the details. So, then what happened, as Gopal Bhatta was traveling around the Vrindavan area, there's a place called Haridwara, which means the gate to Hari, or the spiritual world. There was a big storm, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami took shelter at a Brahman's house. And this Brahman, he had no son. And so the Brahman, he prayed to Gopal Bhatta, please bless me to have a son. You see this in India quite a bit, that people tie things on trees to have a son. Anyone seen that? They tie, no? They tie little wish things on trees. I mean, so with little jangles and everything on the trees so they can have a son. And people go to me and ask me to bless them too about this. You have a son, then they have a daughter, and they blame me for it. So anyway, Gopal Bhatta, all right, so bless you, I have a son. And the Brahma said, if I have a son, my first son, I'm going to offer to you. So 10 years later, wow, 10 years. 10 years old, the boy was serving. At Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, he saw a young boy. Obviously, the boy was probably only 9 years old, because, it takes 9 months or 10 months to have a kid. And he named that boy, initiated the boy as Gopinath Pujari Goswami, who served Radha Raman. And then Gopinatha Pujari Goswami had a younger brother who also took initiation. So you got both of the Brahman's sons, and the descendants of these two personalities, their Goswami family, they actually continue to serve Shri Shri Radharaman. Another time, Shri Shri Radharaman revealed himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was after Gopal Bhatta had felt really guilty that he wasn't worshiping Lord Chaitanya. I didn't have a deity of Lord Chaitanya, so Radharaman revealed himself. Gopal Bhatta Goswami also initiated Srinivas Acharya. This great Acharya who basically brought the books of the Goswamis to Bengal, initiated Virahamvir, the king, and made the province of Vana Vishnupur Krishna conscious. So, as far as Gopal Bhatta Goswami's works are concerned, he has his, of course, most famous work is the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which he worked on in collaboration with Sanatana Goswami. And Prabhupada comments the injunctions on Hari Bhakti Vilas are mainly for India, for ritualistic brahmanas, and many of them, Prabhupada said, are not applicable in the Western world. I mean, for things like don't eat carrots. And the reason for that is because the ritualistic brahmanas in India, they follow the ritualistic injunctions. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Sanatana Goswami wanted to present Krishna consciousness in such a way that would be culturally acceptable to them. Because if he didn't do that, people would reject us. You know, intelligent people, Brahminical people would reject us. Just like sometimes I advise the devotees in Fiji, you know, what sort, you know, they ask me the question, what sort of procedure do we follow when someone passes away? How many days? You know, we know in India there's difference according to what part of India you're in. You know, maybe a few 2 days, 21 days, 2 months. You know, it just differs. So I just said, follow whatever's there in your culture. You know, if people in your culture do pinda, even though we know that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the most effective thing you can do for your forefathers, still, if in your culture they do that, then you accept that and you do it, so people will accept Krishna consciousness. So also, Gopal Bhatta was the person who originally had the idea for the Shat-Shandarbhas, which Jiva Goswami later on, thank you, to which Jiva Goswami later on compiled them, these Shat-Shandarbhas, but it was his idea, and Jiva Goswami was able to put them together in a very consistent way. Gopal Bhatta Goswami also wrote a commentary on the Krishna Karnamrita by Bilvamangal Thakur. He wrote books about samskaras for grahastas, which is called the Satkriya Deepika. Also, the samskaras for sannyasis, which is called the Samskara Deepika, and the names of sannyasis. Very interesting. So, to sum it up, ontologically, he is known as Anangamandri or Gunamandri, according to Kavi Kanapur. And Anangamandri is the sister of Srimati Radharani, and his samadhi is at the Radha Raman temple in Vrindavan. See if there's anything else I can tell about him. Just the basic story. Let's see. So that's about it. So anybody have any questions? Actually, we only have 4 minutes left to class, so there's not enough time to go to Bhagavatam. Yes? No, that wasn't Gopal Bhatta Goswami. That was Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. That he was able to sing the Bhagavatam in many different tunes. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would very much appreciate that. And he did for the other Goswamis, Vrindavan. All these Goswamis, incidentally, they would meet regularly with Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami at the same time and hear from Raghunath Das Goswami about the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So just about every day, Raghunath Das Goswami would have a Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu memory session. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Because Raghunath Das Goswami spent more time with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu than any of the other Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he knew he was the only one who was there for the final pastimes. And also, when he went to Vrindavan, he brought with him the diary of Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's constant companion through the final years of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So that's how the Goswamis really were able to, let's say, write and understand all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's how Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami was able to understand and write about the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, yes, Purvaji. I don't know about it. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, there are other diaries that are available, actually, even on Amazon. What is his qualification? A pure devotee of the Lord. And he's accepted by the acharyas as the person who ascertained the ontological or the position of all the Goswamis of Vrindavan, as well as all, not only the Goswamis of Vrindavan, but all of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates. People like Ramananda Roy, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Lalita, Devi. And he was the son of Shivananda Sain. Shivananda Sain, of course, was a businessman, but he wasn't like Haranyan Govardhan. He was a pure devotee, and he always used his business to support the Vaishnavas and help them on their path to Jagannath Puri every year. So that's very good. Very special to be the son of Shivananda Sain. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya actually allowed him to suck his toe. Yeah, that's one qualification. And he was given the name also Puri Das at one particular point. And Lord Chaitanya said, what sort of name is this? Puri Das. And, there's some indication that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him his name, too. So he's a very special personality. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to hear any criticism of the Vaishnavas. It's very humble, Vaishnava. Never criticized the Vaishnava, didn't want his name mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, didn't think himself qualified to worship the Shalagram Shilas. Very, very, he was the epitome of humility. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it says, Dainu, or humility, is equivalent to prema. Shanadapi Sunuichena Toroiva Shehishna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar ako vitamania Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Driya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham
Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Domande Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Majane Nivesesha Shunyavade Paschachavade Satarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Vrinda Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Radha Govinda Namo Radha Jai Om Vishnu Pad. Namakari Bauda Trapitani Tasmarane Nakala Etadrashi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Drishaniha Nani Nana Raga Trinada Peace and Ichena Taroriva Sishnuna Amanina Manajena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Radhaitiki Twaye I Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vichime Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tavapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrasam Vachintaya Nayanam Madhukara Madanam Gadgada Rudya Gira Puraka Nichitam Babukada Avanama Grahane Bhavishyati Jugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravishayitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me Ashli Shava Padapanashtumam Adarshanam Armatam Karotuva Yatata Bhavadatu Lampato Matprananatas to Sevanaparaha. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we were always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen to the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your names? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything